Have you ever wanted to start something new? Maybe you wanted to start a new business, or maybe you wanted to get back in the gym for a new fitness routine. Maybe you wanted to start traveling abroad and go somewhere new. And just when you convinced yourself that you could, and you should, and you would, you didn't. And you didn't because you convinced yourself that it wasn't the perfect time. You didn't have enough money. Maybe you didn't have the right equipment. Or maybe, just maybe, you convinced yourself that it wouldn't work out. Well, I felt that way 1,000 times in my life. And as recently as yesterday. Thanks for tuning back into the Dig Your Dream podcast. It's good to see you and it's good to hit the record button. The reason why I say this is yesterday, I attempted to record this very episode between 30 and 40 times. Seriously, 30 to 40 takes. And I'm sure a few of those takes probably came out good enough for me to publish the episode. But I hit the stop button too early because in my head, I was telling myself that it wasn't good enough, that my message wasn't clear enough, or that I stumbled on my words too much. And I didn't get anything done. I actually wasted time because I got stuck again. So many times, you know, we have opportunities to take a step forward, to start something new, to make some progress. And we don't take that step forward because we convince ourselves that we couldn't or we shouldn't, or that it's not the right time, or that maybe you don't have, enough money, or maybe it's not the perfect weather outside. We come up with every excuse in the book to not take that first step forward. So, what I want to do this week on my weekly word is just remind all of you that are out there taking the time to either watch or to listen to this is to remind you is we all have to work on trying our best to not get stuck. And the first tip I want to pass along to how we can not get stuck anymore is we need to look in the mirror because the main reason, the main culprit of getting stuck is not something that's happening to us. It's actually the person that's looking back at us in the mirror. That's right. It's us. It's you and it's me. We are the reasons why we keep getting stuck. We're the reasons that are holding ourselves back from taking that first step. Recently, I've expressed to you over the last couple of weeks since the turn of the new year that, I was going to dive back into this project and, you know, more importantly, stay committed to this project. Number one, because I enjoy it. I find it fun. I find it interesting to try to learn how to, you know, I guess, build a podcast, grow a podcast, see if anyone's interested in anything that I have to say with no expectations, no big expectations. This is just a passion project. And as I've been reading more and learning more about, possibly how to build a better podcast and grow a podcast and earn the trust of an audience, I've watched a lot of other podcast hosts or content creators or experts in this space. And there was one phrase that really, really hit me hard this week. And the phrase was, you have to be a disaster before you can become a master. And when I heard that, I was like, that is incredibly accurate, right on the mark, hit the target, bingo central. You have to be a disaster before you become a master. And I think all of us have to take a deep breath and recognize and realize that there is a very good chance, there is a very high likelihood that when we take that first step, when we start something new, we're going to be a disaster. And we're probably going to be a disaster more than once. We're going to have to be willing, kind of have the courage and the fortitude and the wherewithal to be a disaster for quite some time before we can become a master in anything. And I think that, that phrase, you have to become a disaster before you become a master, really resonated with me. And I wanted to pass it along to you. And I'm sure that it's going to resonate with some of you out there because I'm sure that there are some of you out there that can relate to how I'm feeling, that, I or you have wasted time trying to start something, and you wasted time because you were buying more into the excuses than you were with the actual action. So, this week, I hope that, if you were kind enough to take a few minutes to watch and listen to this episode, you'll take a deep breath and take some time to think about something or some things that you would have liked to start or would like to start, and you've been hesitating, or you've been stuck, or you've been getting in your own way. And we need to together be able to overcome that. Because the reality is this: we're never going to make progress if we're not willing to move forward. And the only way to make progress is to move forward. And right now, I've been very, very honest. Although prior to the episodes that I've published here in 2026, 280 plus episodes over the course of, I don't know, 6 or 7 years. So, not that impressive, but still 280 episodes is better than no episodes. Um, Here I am learning and feeling like I'm starting from scratch. You can tell right now I'm recording in my new house, in my new office. I am recording on my iPhone. I don't have a microphone. I don't have any lighting. I don't have any backdrop. But I'm finally at a point now where I no longer want to waste time. I no longer want to wait to do research and find out what the right equipment is necessary to make my podcast better, which I will definitely take time to read and research about how I can do that. But I'm not going to waste time waiting to make those decisions to get the equipment for me to hit record. I'm no longer going to waste time, um, you know, convincing myself that I need more time or that I'm not ready or that I'm not good enough or that I'm not smart enough. Because the reality is, we all only have a certain amount of time. So why waste it? Why waste your time getting stuck? We should use our time we should use our time making progress. And the best progress is made when you're willing to be a disaster. And I'm willing to do that now. And I'm hopeful that some of you, when you kind of, watch this or hear this week's weekly word message, that you might be willing to be a disaster too. And, it's funny. So many times in life, I could look back and say that I was nervous about something or apprehensive about something, and I tried to put it off because I didn't want to face it or deal with it or deal with the potential consequences if I wasn't good at it or if I failed at it or if I, lost the big game. Um, and it was more painful putting it off. It was more painful wasting the time because you knew it was going to come your way anyway, right? If you are truly interested in something, if you truly have a passion and love for something, you're eventually gonna put yourself in that position. And why not do it sooner than later? Why not take your lumps and bumps sooner than later? Because the more lumps and bumps you take, the sooner you can learn how to hone your craft and get better at what you're trying to do, and slowly over time become a master instead of a disaster. So, that was really the message that I wanted to pass along this week. Yesterday when I hit record literally 30 or 40 times, I left my house and I got in the car and I said to myself, that was crazy. I just wasted 30 or 45 minutes trying to record a podcast episode. I got in the car and got nothing from it, took nothing from it, um, other than maybe the life learning lesson that, you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect to make progress. In fact, some of the best progress is made when, when you're bad. I really believe that. I tell the players that I train all the time, um, the biggest amount of progress that you can see with your own eyes as a coach is really in the beginning stages of a player starting to learn the new skills and drills and how he's growing as a player. When you take a look at that very first workout or first lesson or first practice, and then you fast forward a few months or even a couple years and you see the change and you see the progress made, it's incredibly rewarding. And it's no different than what you may be wanting to do in your life and what I would like to do off the field or outside of the office for me. I would really like to get good at this. I would really like to develop and create a show that is worthwhile for you, the viewer, to look forward to tuning in every single week. It's going to take a lot of time. I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn the hard way that, I need to improve. The environment that I'm recording in. I'm probably going to have to get some better equipment sooner than later. More importantly, I'm going to have to learn how to communicate better and speak better and present better. And I'm finally at the point now where um, I don't want to wait anymore to learn how to do that. And the best way to learn is to jump in, to dive in, to be willing to take your bumps and lumps and be willing to be a disaster. So that is my weekly word message to you. As you head out, as you embark on whatever you're about to get yourself into this weekend, and as you head into next week, be willing to be a disaster. Whatever it is that you would like to do, jump in now, dive in now, make your mistakes now, and start to own your craft. Because over time, you will make less mistakes, you will make more progress, and that really is the ultimate reward anytime that you're willing to start something new. So, yeah, that was it. Definitely another example of more of a ramble than a podcast episode. But once again, what am I going to do? I'm going to hit the stop button early and say that this wasn't a good episode and try again tomorrow. If I keep doing that, I'll only post and upload and publish about 2 or 3 episodes in 2026, and that's not the goal. The goal is to be consistent. The goal is to put something out there that hopefully some of you can take some value from, and the goal is to enjoy it and to get better at it. So I'm sure that in a year or 3 or 5 or 10, when I rewatch this episode, I'm probably going to cringe. I'm probably going to say to myself, how in the world could I even post this? But I'm also going to smile and say, you know what? This is exactly what I needed. This was a reminder, and I hope that it was a nice little reminder for all of you out there as well too. Um, it's time to stop getting stuck, and it's time to start moving forward, and that is the best way. So the next time you're feeling stuck, the next time you keep saying to yourself, "Oh my gosh, I'm just so stuck. I don't know what to do." Well, do yourself a favor and remind yourself that I told you that the best way to stop getting stuck is to start moving forward. No matter how small, no matter how tiny that first step is, just take the first step. Jump in, dive in. Let's get to work. Let's start to be a disaster so that over time, you and I and everyone else can become the master. Thanks for tuning into the Dig Your Dream podcast. That was my weekly word. I look forward to hitting the record button again real soon with no hesitation, regardless of how good or bad the next episode is. I'm going to do it. But I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for tuning back in. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the time you're taking to watch and listen. And I look forward to hitting this record button again and dropping a new episode much sooner rather than later. Until then, you know what you got to do. Get out there and dig your dream.